You're listening to the Health Courage Collective podcast, episode 73, The Holiday Drift. Welcome to the Health Courage Collective podcast, the show for women who are too busy to slog through hours of generalized, inapplicable, and often contradictory health information, but too smart to ignore that a few minutes of focused attention now can prevent years of suffering in the future. I'm your host, Christina Hackett, a pharmacist who doesn't want you to live on prescriptions, a certified coach specifically trained to maximize your potential, and a compulsive learner obsessed with preventative, cutting-edge, holistic, and integrative medicine. I'm on a mission to increase your physical and mental resilience so you can fearlessly look forward to your next 40-plus limitless years. Your time is now. Let's go. Hello, my friends. So good to be with you today. How is your vitamin E? Do you at least know the importance of the different forms and that what's in all the easy-to-find supplements is not what you want? You're way ahead of the game. Good for you. I try not to repeat myself too much, and I know I always say that time is flying by, but I just can't believe that tomorrow is Thanksgiving already. The holiday rush has begun, for better or worse. I kind of love it, but it does have its challenges. There are a million events to attend, a million things to buy, a million things to bake and eat, pressure to perform, pressure to do it all, pressure to create a magical winter fairyland with twinkle lights, cinnamony smells and elves on shelves, and pressure to enjoy yourself the whole time. It's a lot. What is it that you like about the holiday season? What's important to you? What would 37 days in the future you, that's New Year's Day, by the way, say made for a great holiday? Maybe your answer is nothing. Maybe it's a lot of laughter or together time with the family. Maybe it's serving the less fortunate or a religious experience. Is it eating too much or spending too much? Waiting in lots of lines? Sitting at parties with people you don't like? What would make you feel like you honored your health throughout the holiday season? That your cells and membranes and metabolism and energy are none the worse for wear. It's definitely a season of cookie browbeatings, poached workout sessions, and swindled sleep time. It seems like just yesterday, but almost 2 months ago now, my husband and I were traveling in Ireland. It was amazing and awesome, and I could talk about it forever. Have you ever been there? I'd love to know. Send me a message. The culture and music and scenery and history were all so fabulous. Anyway, one beautiful, sunny, warm day in Dublin, we went kayaking down the River Liffey. That's the river that goes right through downtown Dublin. It's super fun to have that different perspective, and I was surprised how clean the water was. Well done, Dubliners. I'm very impressed by your tidiness and lack of rubbish. There was a group of us kayakers, and we had a guide who would have us stop every so often to tell us about the history or architecture or whatever of that part of the city. And as we came and met up with him, as you can imagine, in order to be able to hear what he had to tell us, we had to figure out how to all hold on to one another. 2 people would have to reach out and hold on to the guide's boat, and the other people had to hold on to the kayak of the person who was holding on to the guide's boat. Why? Because we'd all drift apart pretty quickly if we didn't. Even as a mass of 8 connected kayaks, at the end of 5 minutes of talking, we'd all end up at a different place than where we started. We drift. It's natural that when you're passively floating in an environment of dynamic forces, you drift. And if you're drifting, you're not getting where you intend to go. In his book, Making Life a Masterpiece, Orson Swett Marden said, "It would be as impossible for a ship to come into a certain port without a compass as it would be for a man or woman to make any headway on the sea of life without a purpose. Nobody ever drifts into anything desirable. To get the thing worthwhile, you must know where your goal lies, and you must make straight for it, past all the rocks and sandbars." End quote. In Lead the Field, Earl Nightingale says, "If you should visit a ship in port and ask the captain for his next port of call, he'll tell you in a single sentence. Even though the captain cannot see his port, his destination, for a full 99% of his voyage, he knows that it's there, and barring any highly unlikely catastrophe, he'll reach it. All he has to do is keep doing certain things every day." End quote. So here's my question for you today. Do you know your January 1st port of call? Is it absolutely clear in your mind? What memories do you want to have of your 2022 holidays? Franticness? How do you want your loved ones to remember you? As exhausted? What is most important to have happen this holiday season? Is it that you bake every imaginable holiday treat? Give everyone the most perfect gift ever? How do you want to feel in your body? What kind of energy do you want to have on January 1st? How do you want your body to feel? Do you want to have made any progress in your training capacity? Or do you want to have missed your workouts for 37 days? How can you get from where you are now to where you want to be? You're probably not going to accidentally drift there. I love the idea of the holiday season being magical as much as the next guy, but despite what Hallmark or Disney or Kay Jewelers or Lexus or whoever would want us to believe, holiday magic isn't luck, and it doesn't passively happen upon us. And neither does getting to the new year feeling like we don't need a behavior overhaul. We can absolutely relax and enjoy and indulge and still stay in control and maintain our healthy habits that keep us sane, centered, energetic, strong, and healthy. And we don't have to be lame or boring or give up anything holly jolly that we love in order to have it both ways. We just have to realize that we have a choice and we have to choose on purpose, or else we'll find ourselves drifting. Hey, I just wanted to quickly interrupt and ask if you really love your protein bars. If not, you might want to check out Built Bars. Built Bars have 15 to 19 grams of protein from whey and only 130 to 180 calories and 48 grams of sugar per bar, depending on what flavor you choose. They're so good. I eat one almost every day. Every flavor is covered in real chocolate and they taste like a candy bar, as long as you've never tasted a real candy bar before. Just kidding. I'm totally kidding. They may not be quite as decadent as your favorite candy bar, but they're seriously good, especially for 130 calories and 4 grams of sugar. They have tons of flavors and textures to choose from. I always order the 18-bar variety box plus a box of whatever's new or strikes my fancy. My favorite is peanut butter brownie, but the seasonal candy cane brownie is awesome when it's that time of year, and the cookie dough and cherry barcia are so good too. If you want to give them a try, there's a link in the show notes that will get you 15% off your first order as my gift to you. You can't go wrong. Okay, back to the episode. I love this quote from Tal Ben-Shahar. When the injunction to just live our life becomes a license not to choose, we end up being pulled along by others' choices, simply behaving the way we always have in the past, passively reacting to life rather than actively creating the life that we really want to be living. To make the most of our life, we must first of all choose to choose. This is the fundamental choice underlying all choices. We must commit ourselves to the idea that there are far more possibilities than we normally see, and then to the effort that it takes to examine these possibilities and choose the one that's best for us. End quote. I think that's so timely because the holiday season is a time when we're led to believe that what we want is to just kick back and live our life. But we need to pay attention to whether we're using that mindset as a license not to choose. In that case, we'll be pulled along by others' choices and behave the way we always have in the past, rather than creating the life that we actually want to live, both now and 37 days from now. Do you want to be pulled along by other people's choices? Probably sometimes, but there are some people's agendas that you'd rather not be a part of. Which ones? Walmart's? Samsung's? Your Aunt Matilda's? Your kids' friends? Think about who you want to allow to steer your ship and how you'll resist the pressure to just go along with something that's not truly important to you. What do you typically do during the holidays? I hope you have traditions that make this time of year special for you. But what can you think of that you typically do that doesn't add to the holiday magic, or that feeling at New Year's that you're right on course with your energy and healthy habits? Is eating a lot of Christmas cookies important to your holiday memories? It's okay if it is, just decide that on purpose and adjust your overall plans accordingly. What other things do you typically do that don't add to your satisfaction? How can you eliminate them? Now's the time to choose the health you want a month or two from now and the memories you want a year or two from now. If you find yourself doing something that doesn't contribute to these objectives, pause and consider whether it's something you can eliminate this year. What would be the effects on your health and your memories if you did? Have you thought of some things you can put on your stop doing list this holiday season? Can you see how subtracting some things can add to your happiness both now and in the future? The funny thing is that it's kind of hard to follow your stop doing list, especially when it's something that you've always done, whether you like it or not. Habit is powerful, which is awesome because you can use that to your advantage, but it takes some conscious effort while you're in the unprogramming your autopilot stage. You might need to think of a signal that will help remind you when you get off track. It could be that flustered, stressful feeling, or going back to the cookie jar or pantry or fudge dish multiple times. Maybe it could be recognizing your highly skilled negotiator talking you out of your workout time. When you feel flustered or peckish or overscheduled or undermoved, is that a word? You know what I mean? Then you can refocus on what you want to purposefully steer toward. Of all the things that you want for your holiday season, what one thing do you want the most? Is it connection, togetherness, opulence, relaxation, keeping up with traditions, spirituality, giving, serving? Whatever it is, what activity will disproportionately steer your experience in that direction? If disproportionate results come from one activity, then give that activity disproportionate effort and ease up or totally forget about the rest. In their book, The One Thing, Gary Keller and Jay Papasan say to ask yourself, today, what is the one thing I can do for my one thing such that by doing it, everything else will become easier or unnecessary? And they say that the answer to that question is your most leveraged activity. And that the only way to make your life's results extraordinary is to focus on your most leveraged work. Gary Keller also said, anyone who dreams of an uncommon life eventually discovers there's no choice but to seek an uncommon approach to living it. I love that quote. It's so true. If we don't want the common experience of our holidays ending up with us feeling like we neglected our health, spent too much money, we're too stressed to be genuinely together, and we're examples to our kids of commercialism and consumerism at their finest, and that now we need to begin the slow process of digging ourselves out of that backward slide, then we need to seek an uncommon approach to our holiday season. I hope you seek an uncommon approach, that you subtract the unimportant and give disproportionate attention to your most important activities, which might be movie night, or sledding, or saying no to the office Christmas party, or skipping the live pine bough gift wrapping adornments so that you don't miss your gym time. Whatever you choose is right for you. Just make sure you're the one choosing it. The holiday drift is about passivity, getting caught up in someone else's current, ending up somewhere we don't want to be and blaming our circumstances or other people, arriving to January 2nd less healthy and happy than we'd like to be. It doesn't have to be that way, and it doesn't have to be hard. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic Thanksgiving and entire holiday season. Next week, we're going to talk about deciding not to get Alzheimer's disease. Until then, choose to sail against the current for the next 5 weeks, and don't be normal. Thank you so much for tuning into the Health Courage Collective podcast. I am truly honored that you have paid me the enormous compliment of your time and attention. I would be so grateful if you would share this podcast with someone you know and subscribe so you never miss an episode. This podcast is for entertainment and information purposes only. Statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Christina Hackett and producers, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse events by use of information contained herein. If you think you have a medical problem, consult a licensed physician.